Recording. So all your jokes and things are being recorded for all to hear. So keep it classy, San Diego. All right, that's 23 of us, so that's a fairly common number. Let's go ahead and get going, I guess. All right, so we'll just kind of run through our agenda here. So the chairman update. For those of you who haven't met me, so I can't tell who's on the call because my screen's all funky. I'm Paul Pettit. I'm the current chair of Rocky Mountain Rugby Referees, and welcome to our February meeting. I guess our update really starts with return to rugby. And so Hugh Miller, I invited Hugh Miller, who's with Rugby Colorado. He's here to talk about Rugby Colorado's plans for rugby coming up. So Hugh, I saw you. Somebody said your name. So Hugh, please take it away. What's Rugby Colorado got going on for rugby this when and where and what?
Yeah. Well, thanks so much for inviting me out here to the most important group of people out there so we can play rugby, the referees. So Rugby Colorado has been working to obviously return to play, and the boys committee got together. We've gotten together about 4 different times and discussed what we wanted to do to create a kind of return to play for the clubs, and also the girls and also try committees have met also. So for the most up to date in what we're planning, and hopefully your society will be joining us, is if you didn't hear, CHASA created 4 different seasons for high school sports, A, B, C, and D. And the A season was the fall, but they were only going to be including softball, cross country, and but the big one they were not including was football. And then about halfway through, as you're probably aware, football kind of pressured CHASA to join again. And so majority of football teams played in the fall, but about 53 or so teams did not play in the fall. And that includes DPS, Aurora, Boulder, and Aspen schools. So we were wondering how to create a equitable season for the teams that, we normally play in the spring that wouldn't have a lot of their football players and boys soccer players. And so we decided as a group that we were going to be playing in the C and D seasons. And the C season was going to be modeled kind of after the girls' jamboree style. So the 20 clubs or so that we have are planning on coming together starting March 13th and going for 6 weeks during the C season on Saturdays at a single venue. Obviously, COVID regulations available. And each team that is entered would play 2 30-minute matches. So if you have a larger club that wants to put an A side in or a B side, or freshman, sophomore, 8th grade matches type of things, you could do that. And if not, if you just have one team and you put it in for the day, the thought would be play kind of back-to-back matches, or a 3-way each week. And the first 3 weeks would be very flexible. And if you only had 10 or 12 players, you come in, maybe we play 10s. If you only have like 7 players, you could combine with another team. And we looked that we prefer 15s for every team, but if numbers didn't work out early in the season, we'd be very flexible and basically allow every kid to play. And so the thought for that was multitude. 1, flexibility. 2, for the referee society, not having 20 games or 10 games all over the state, having it at one venue. So our thought was to ask and see how many refs you thought would be needed. The tournament would probably go from 9 to 3 each weekend, with approximately 20 teams. The first few weekends we have fields with 2 fields, and the last 4 weekends we have fields with 3. And so to be able to include more. The other thoughts was to include some of the girls teams that are still with Rugby Colorado and have them play in one of the fields also, and they'd be playing sevens to join us in that. And so once the C season got over April 17th, we would then roll into the D season, which uniquely this year rolls into June. And all Chassa sports are doing that in the D season. And so our D season would be starting April 24th and running for 7 weeks. Each club would play 6 matches. We would try to schedule during the week and then they'd have one bye weekend because it does roll into graduation time period. Maybe the bye weekend would be around their school's graduations. But if they have a Saturday graduation, maybe we could play a Wednesday, Thursday match. But clubs would only be playing one game a week. And we'd use part of the C season to create our divisions and probably still have 3 divisions of rugby. And then we'd roll into the playoffs in June 12th to the 26th, having our quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals, culminating the season on the 26th, which is also the ending weekend of Tri, which we were planning on bringing back the same schedule as usual, having it the last 6 weeks, 2 weeks in May and 4 weeks in June. And so it's a bunch of rugby, but it's very flexible, and we hope that it would be helpful with the referee society to know, how many referees would be available and how many do you think you'll need for the tournament, and to keep it in one central place so it's local for referees and also our medical. And so that's kind of the update of our plans. Some of the clubs have started to train right now and are, excited about kind of coming together and kind of a jamboree style and kind of bringing old school rugby back together.
All right, cool. Thanks, Hugh. I have just a couple of questions. We won't talk about the I guess the actual details of referees and that kind of thing. We'll do that offline. But just a couple of quick questions. One is having that many people together at one venue, is that going to comply with the state's or Chassa's guidelines for COVID?
Yeah, so the way we were working it's kind of how lacrosse did it over fall and summer, where especially early season, depending on numbers and location where we are, depending on county, most likely what will happen is we'll schedule the boys games kind of back to back. So they'll be playing, the shorter, like 15-minute halves. And then once they're done, they leave. So it's not like we're having all 20 clubs sitting there all day from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock milling around. It's more like kind of like the jamborees with Tri. You've got your hour, you get there, you play, and then you can go, to kind of reduce the amount of people that are utilizing all the area.
Okay, but Rugby Colorado is managing that and taking care of the on and off and that sort of thing. So the referees will just be there to referee, and
Yep.
the teams will be on the field and on the pitch, and they'll referee that game as it arrives.
Yeah.
Okay.
And since it's being kind of like the jamboree tournament style, we keep the time limit there. So, like I said, it's very flexible. It's getting the kids out playing again. And, there's talk of maybe the last 3 weeks being competitive or something, or keeping a score or that type of thing. But really, it's just early on. In fact, we would encourage the referee early on to, become a mini coach and talk to the players and maybe explain penalties and things that they may get, because it's, again, early season, and some of these kids obviously would have never played or are just learning or haven't played in a year.
Yeah, I think everyone's gonna be rusty, right?
Yeah.
No one's done rugby for a while, so I think everyone's gonna have a little bit of rust. So yeah, so again, we'll the specifics of numbers and what have you will take offline, and we'll go from there. So one of the things, Hugh, we have to do just as a group, honestly, is actually kind of take a poll of referees and just make sure we have the numbers of referees who are comfortable doing that. Because, I mean, it's still a pretty, dangerous thing in terms of group gatherings and people together and heavy breathing and running and yelling and close quarters and, referee being close enough to the play to call the game correctly and that sort of thing. So we'll obviously have to work on that from our end, and beyond that, logistic wise, we'll have to work to get back to you offline and with numbers and that kind of thing. But if anyone has a question, any questions I haven't asked already, just put in the chat, please, and I'll ask a few, and then, or if not, I'll email them to Hugh later so we can kind of address those and get them out to the group. So I don't want to just invite Hugh as a guest and then pepper him with a bunch of questions. So if you have one, throw it in the chat, and we'll take it that way, I guess.
Awesome.
I don't see any, but Hugh, you're welcome to stick around for the meeting, the rest of the meeting, and of course you're welcome to go. I will join you at your meeting. And then one question that's popped up here: do you have an idea where the matches are going to be, the locations?
Yeah, we've got some scheduled. We've got an Evergreen one, an Inglewood one, a couple up at UNC, and possibly Regis University, and then possibly out in Dix. So they'd be in the area, but obviously some up in northern Colorado too.
Okay, and I'm guessing those all kind of depend on the counties, who's going to allow what, and that sort of thing. So
yeah, we're kind of like everyone. We're trying to plan for the best, and so that's kind of the situation we're working and plan and keep it flexible as much as possible.
Right, and then I guess I know that so I think Rugby Colorado, we kind of done away with some of the roping on the stadiums, use the stadium as barriers, but thinking of fan and families and that kind of thing. So the rules around how many people can actually show up and be there, and how is that going to be policed? Like, I mean, are you going to have police? Are you going to, is that you? Is that a team from Rugby Colorado, or how's that going to kind of work out for that?
Yeah, I mean, we definitely, obviously right now the closer we get, the more regulations we'll know and understand about expectations about parents, being able to watch or in their cars or type of thing like that. So we'll definitely know more when we get closer and closer, and depending on obviously what county we get at, because obviously on one hand we got these new things coming out, other hands vaccinations coming through quicker and quicker. So I think things are changing so quickly week to week that, again, we're planning for the best, and then we'll keep making arrangements on that.
Right. Yeah, just the only concern with that, and I think you can appreciate this, and anyone who's been involved in I guess any rugby, right? But youth rugby, especially group gatherings, is there's just people don't know where to go, where to stand. They're like, I don't care what you're telling me. It's my kid. It's just it's coming. So just
and
the referees don't need any part of that. We want to be there to referee the game, but we also don't want to have problems for you. We want to be safe for everyone, both the game itself and then in terms of the exposure to the virus as well too. So.
Yeah, I think the information will go out very clear, and each team is responsible for parents, and in that sense, and so the hope and the best that we've all seen is that the majority of parents just really want their kids out there getting back to play, and if they understand that if they want their kid to play, they need to either not be there or be very spaced out, or one parent per kid or something of the sort that we'll do. We'll be very adamant. And I think the more and more they're learning about that, especially with the CHSAA sports that the kids have been going through too, but that would absolutely not be a referee issue or a responsibility. We just want you guys there to, do the reffing that you do and help the kids out and just get back to playing.
Right. Yeah. And of course, I think I don't want to speak for anyone turn, but I'm sure there's folks who would be interested and eager to get back to it. But again, that's obviously, I think that's probably the biggest thing is just the mass of kids and people and the bodies and the volume of people who, again, just need to be kept kind of, I guess, policed, for lack of a better word, So, okay, cool.
Absolutely.
So I don't see any more questions now. Hugh, if more come up, I'll send to you. And again, you're welcome to stick around on the meeting and join us, or I'll join you at at your Rugby Colorado meeting for discussions around try and stuff. And I think Rick, I haven't talked to Rick yet, but I will invite Rick to do that too, as our recruitment retention officer. So we'll do that.
Awesome.
Too. Okay.
Well, I've been on Zoom for about 12 hours, so I'll let you all go. And it's great to see your faces again, and hope to see you on the pitch very soon. And I don't know if I ever say I'd love to see referees, but I love seeing you guys and gals. So
all right.
Miss you all.
But yeah. Thanks for joining us, Hugh. Appreciate it.
Thanks, you.
Thanks all. Appreciate it.
So just as Hugh signs off there again, if you have questions, and obviously this is the new thing. This is the only rugby that's coming up in terms, is youth stuff. So Rocky Mountain Rugby, adult game hasn't contacted us. They're doing anything. Colleges haven't said they're doing anything yet. My only contact was I had a conversation with Rich Cortez about a different subject that he mentioned there. Still waiting for that to come through. So anyway, so Jim, Hugh was the former president of the board of Rugby Colorado, and I believe now he has sort of been conscripted into their executive administration role. Angus Peacock left Colorado for California, I believe, for jobs. So Hugh is in that role right now. So RNL, I saw Mark Huff. Mark, do you have anything to add to the RNL? Just put you on the spot here, but I had one thing to share, but
Let me unmute. They're pushing toward that vote in February or this month that would formally establish the RNL. So all the structure is done. Now it's just a matter of populating the officer positions within the RNL and making the subcommittees permanent. So that's kind of been the focus of the governance subcommittee. Jim, you got anything to add to that?
No, I missed the call yesterday because I was traveling. But the deadline for chairman nominees was yesterday. They're going to send out some questions to the nominees so that the local chairman like Paul can get a feel for them. And then there's a Zoom meeting of some sort, I think, about what, Mark, the 18th or something?
Yeah.
For voting on the chairman. And by then, hopefully, the committee will be fully populated and it can do its thing.
okay.
So they're also hoping, and they haven't started yet, but they're hoping to recruit somebody to be communications director for the RNL. They would like to recruit a younger person, somebody that's up and coming and have interest in working in the administration of the referees. So I would encourage anyone who's got any skill sets they would like to bring to that and may be interested to talk to Paul about getting your name in the hat for that position.
Right. Cool. Yeah, that's really. Anyone else? Sorry,
we could use someone like that too, like a social
exactly.
media content manager. Yeah, it's we are in dire need of some web specialists, some social content, and whatnot.
Yeah, what's that? And not shop local, but volunteer local. How about that, right? And then just I'm sure everyone saw the latest letter went out to the public, and it's on the website at the USA Rugby. This the NCR update. So they're still going back and forth with that NCR, formerly NSCRO. So nothing really to tell you about it. Just it's out there. They're still working it out, and we're a neutral party to that. Operations wise, Dan, if you're out there, you can read this off. If not, I can. Either way. All right, I'll go ahead. So not much to add here. It's obviously a slow year. Not much went on in 2020, but 1099s went out. So if you made more than $600 in referee fees, then you will get a 1099. And then filing was done with the Carl Secretary of State. So we are moving along. All right. I have Winter Fitness. This is a hangover on here, but again, there's the I don't know if this has come out to anybody, but it's on the, it's out there, the Fit Ref raffle, and Joe Verpo, your name is on that flyer as a representative. I'm sorry, I just got the flyer. I barely read through it once. So are you able to offer some update on that for us?
Yeah, sure. So we are doing, am I able to share screen on this?
Yeah, I'm going to try to pull that up here and find it.
So we're doing a Fit Ref raffle. There are 3 divisions. Okay. There are 3 divisions. Social, club, and high performance. The social and the club levels, they are using an online the Google form, and you just keep re-entering your data. Where the high performance group, that you apply once, and then I'm sending out an app, one I developed for logging, and it's more of a public facing app. People can see how you're doing, track your minutes, and then you can so you can push yourself to beat your fellow reps. We're also integrating that in with Strava. It is not a requirement for you to join Strava, but it is highly encouraged. You can do it for free. That seems to have confused some people. Strava is a free app with a premium. And yeah, so if you have any questions about that, I can answer them now, or I can answer them via an email. You can see my email, one of my many email addresses right there. So.
All right, so I guess, Joe, anyone interested in forming a group with us and getting this going to participate? And obviously we're not, we don't care about the prize, but there's the motivation to do that, and certainly it's something that with I guess spring rugby coming around the corner, it's probably time to think about it.
And it is it's an individual effort. You only add for yourself, but you also register when you go to register, you put in what referee society we're in, and then the highest per capita for activity, we will then, I think that they said an L1 or whatever will be given up. So.
Okay, thanks for clearing that up. I didn't quite get that from when I read through it real quick.
Yeah, the most people per LRO would join. They would get a free level 1 from World Rugby Education, which is great.
Yeah, fantastic. Be great. All right, cool. So, and if anyone didn't get it, we'll send this out to after this. It'll to the group, just the flyer, so you have it. Anyone didn't get it already, so you can see it and join, sign up, and do it. And you can be on Strava with all the cyclists and other outdoor enthusiasts and post your stuff. The other thing we talked about doing, kind of get back to this, we've done it off and on in different, I guess, in different flavors, was just kind of watching some match video, and like it was a controversial call or kind of what's going on, and kind of use that to sort of make sure that what at this level, how would we call that? How would we do that? So Mark and Rick, you want to talk about what kind of the thought around that is, and Rick, I'll let you go first. Or
sure. It's not anything too formal at this point, but basically, if you have any questions about anything that happened in the 3 matches each weekend, just fire up an email to one of us, and maybe like on a Thursday, we'll send out a link for just a quick Zoom meeting so we can all kind of get calibrated on what we think about some of the things that happened at that level. It's just good to get to looking at some rugby again and thinking about situations and triggers and things like that. And then also, I think the next couple meetings we'll probably have just a quick session of what happened and Six Nations over the month, and you know what the brains of the group like Jim Russell think about it.
Yeah, I think, and Mark mentioned he had the ability to kind of get some clips, and we could be able to, again, we've done that in the past, and we can, we'll see how that goes on Zoom, but we can probably share them and then again try to just talk about the call. And anything else to add to that, Mark, or did we cover it?
Yeah, during COVID and Super Rugby, there's been a group of us that gets together on the weekends and watches a game of the week, basically, and we just kind of chat about it. So I think we'd be keen to do that again, or we could do like a watch party. So I can download some of the games, and then we can schedule a watch party in Zoom meet, or watch a half, or really, if we just assign a game of the week, you guys could watch it, and then give some feedback for it. I do have a little bit of calibration. I don't know who's watched the Curry Cup final this last weekend, but there was an interesting touch call I could share with you guys. So if you kind of want to take a look at this, and we can. And I found a great resource for just kind of learning a little bit more about the game. So just let's watch this video real quick.
Yeah.
So that's in the 81st minute, right, of a tied game. It leads to a turnover. And then I found this little resource. That's pretty good.
There's no sound.
There's no sound on it?
No, it's not coming through.
Well, I'll send the link out. I'll put the link in the chat for that, so you can all watch the YouTube later. But it's there's a series of videos Wayne Barnes did that just kind of goes through over like little things in the game. That he has a lot of videos on there, and it's really great. It's really great. So take a look at that and watch some of those videos. But obviously, Jaco was a little incorrect there. That if you catch the ball from outside the field of play, jumping from touch, and you're in there and you're landing the field of play, it's play on. The one caveat of that is if you jump from touch, the ball's crossed the plane of touch, and you bat it back in and land in the field of play, then you can't play on. But you can catch it and land in the field of play. So that's like the one touch law. But Wayne goes through a bunch of different scenarios. So take a look at that. It's pretty cute how he does it with the little Lego toys, and he has a lot of them. It's really great. So yeah, take a look at that.
Yeah, it's good. I think eventually, we'll get back to doing stuff, and a lot of us have had an opportunity to do touch at Glendale in the stadium, and actually some fairly meaningful games. Big games are on the screen, they're on video, they're in the stadium, all those things, and so obviously getting those things right is critical for. I think Rocky Mountain has a good reputation for having a good set of referees that make good calls and do good jobs, and so we want to keep on that. So that's awesome. It's a good start. I guess that's all for our formal agenda. But I guess I would just kind of ask: is there anyone out there who, just informally, there's 27 of us on there, and maybe just kind of pop in there. Anyone out there who is like eager, willing, would like go out to the Rugby Colorado matches and feel safe doing that?
Yeah, you can raise your hand in the chat or
Or your hand
on the screen.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Okay. All right.
I
Good.
mean, I don't ref anymore, but I'd be happy to go out and watch refs.
As would I.
Yeah. Okay. Good to know. Cause again, this is new. This is
Likewise.
the first group that's doing rugby. So just good to get sort of at least a small sort of sampling of our interest in that. So thanks for that.
Paul, I'm not overly worried about catching the cooties from anybody.
Okay.
Same here.
So those matches will probably be in Ref Up, and I don't know how many people are in Ref Up or not, but I just put the link in the website. So if you're not in Ref Up, go ahead and get yourself signed up. It's pretty easy. Just go and create an account, and then look for those games. And if you did want to coach them as well, there will be opportunities to go and bid on the coaching reports. So just go ahead and click on that link in the chat.
Yeah, so work like they did last season. So sure, we're all rusty on Ref Up as well too. So there are some videos out there that we have available to tutorials to watch if you need to, or if you can't find them, send an email to the group and we'll get those out to you so you can watch them and kind of relearn it yourself. I think we've covered almost all the topics a couple of times, and so they're recorded for posterity and for learning, and so you can just go out and check those out. So anyone have anything else any questions or comments? I think otherwise that's it for our agenda. It's a pretty short, I guess, obviously with no rugby going on. It's pretty short and sweet, right?
Hey, Paul, just a question. Now that we're looking at doing games in a month or so, we probably ought to go register with USA Rugby, right? Any reason not to at this point?
Right. So, if we're going to be refereeing rugby, we would need to be registered with USA Rugby. That's part of being in Ref Up as well too, is being a registered member with USA Rugby. So, yes, that's correct. Thanks, Mark. Yeah, and yeah, that's about it for that. And of course, they're using Sport Loma now, so it's a new system. But everyone should have gotten an email at some point. If not, they still have someone answering membership emails and that sort of thing at USA Rugby. So,
yeah, Justin Broski.
Okay. Yeah, so there's some comments in chat, of course, about safety, and we understand that. So again, it's a crazy, still crazy times, and things are kind of up in the air for sure. I think some folks who have had COVID recently, there's sort of a theoretical time of immunity, but that's up to individuals and your own personal thing, and we're not making judgments about that. So, or any recommendations either way, because no one here is a doctor that is going to put their neck out to talk about this. So, anyway, that's it. I think we'll
Medical doctor,
yeah, not a doctor of SAS or a doctor of something else or jurisprudence, So, all right, then I think it was great seeing everybody. Nice having meetings again, and thanks for your logging in, and we'll see y'all next month. Same bat channel.
Stay safe.
Bye.
Paul, you want to stay on?
Yep, sure.